Hi, this is joint work with Jianyu from China and with Zohra from Toulouse. So this is a theoretical paper. And we will be dealing with nested names. So we are mostly familiar with private brands, and it's a standard brand that many firms use. And we, especially in Europe, are familiar with the collective labels like any AOC or something like that. But probably what is less familiar to many of you is the use of nested names. There is a recent literature trying to explain what is the effect, what is the logic, and especially the empirical literature trying to explain what is the effect of nested names. Okay, so nested names refer to the situation in which in a label you can use both the name of the AOC and the name of the brand, individual firm. Okay, so this is more or less the idea we are talking about. So what we are doing in this paper is to try to explain the logic of using nested names, okay? And given that firms can use different strategies, we are trying to see what are the effects of these different strategies, the logic of using different strategies. And so the main idea here, we have a situation in which producers are heterogeneous. So why what is the meaning or what is the purpose of having a heterogeneous producer using the same collective label? So this is the basic question we're trying to analyze. And especially why should we have a high quality producer in a common label together with possibly lower quality producers? And also we try to model how the choices within a common label are made and how different situations can emerge. And also given what are the results in some of the empirical literature, we're trying to see whether nested names are really more conflict prone, like somebody in the literature is trying to establish, to say. So, and overall, we want to see what are the different situations, the different labeling strategies, and the effects on the incentive for quality and some of the welfare effects of these choices. So, the issues we are trying to investigate, this is, like I said, there is no numbers, only a few equations, is theoretical, but I think the starting points were some of the problems you observe in the industry. So the first one is the coexistence of different labels, okay? For example, here you have a bottle in which they use only the collective name, Pauillac, okay? And here you see all the name of the AOC plus the name of the chateau, which is the private brand. So but there are also other issues, also other problems in this. For example, you have a lot of controversies. This refers to a controversy that came out in the Valpolicella area, in the Amarone. Amarone is the best wine in that area, and there are some producers that threatened to leave the group because they didn't agree with the cahier de charges, with the standard, the quality standard they were enforced in the group. Or here in a same kind of problem in a different area in north of Italy. So I'm referring mostly here to Italy, but it's more general than that. And but these kind of issues of controversies are not typical only of Italy or only of wine. Here, for example, I refer to the chocolate in Modica. Modica is a small town in Sicily. They have a special kind of chocolate. They have an AOC like there, and they had some controversies. Or here, you have the situation of the example of the let's say, the war of wine in Rioja, which is, as you might know, another region, wine region, famous wine in Spain. And here is an example of same kind of controversy that you find in the industry of knives in France. La Guiole probably is the best brand there, is a common brand. And they had an argument with the people in Thiers. Thiers, they have a nice steel, and they were fighting among them. So this is a kind of standard issue you find in the press or in the industry. And so another phenomena we'd like to model to explain is that within an AOC you find some kind of differentiation. For example, either Valpolicella or Chianti, you find the Chianti Classico, which is the original area, the small one, or the Chianti enlarged area, which is a bigger one usually, which includes the Chianti Classico inside. This is, like I said, true in Chianti, but also you have the same kind of situation in Valpolicella. Another issue we want to look at is the fact that sometimes an AOC is losing part of the members. So we have some kind of secession. This is probably the most famous example is the emergence of the super Tuscan wines in the 60s and in the 80s. Okay, you have maybe the Tignanello or the because they split, because they didn't agree about the rules of the cepage they could use. They didn't want to use the white ones. They wanted to use Sangiovese, but to use Cabernet Merlot. So they started a new kind of wine in the Chianti region, and they came up with the Super Toscans, and they even started a new AOC, which is in the same region, which is Bulgaria. So, and actually these people are making more money. They are getting higher prices for wine than the original Chianti. So these are the kind of problems we're trying to look at. So there is some literature, especially empirical evidence on the impact of different labeling schemes. Of course, that literature explains that information is important and there are some effects of different quality signal. And also on the supply side, there is a growing amount of literature explaining that heterogeneity is important in this kind of industry. When you have quality, heterogeneity becomes an issue. So the model we have is probably quite simple, but it captures probably what we want to capture. So consumers, they are heterogeneous, but not in terms of preferences, but in terms of the information they have. So we can distinguish between two types of consumers, the aware ones, which have a better knowledge of the wine market, and the unaware one. And we will see how the different labels can work into different producers. So the producers also are heterogeneous. They are those that are pretty lucky, so they are the commitment type, that are always producing high quality. And we can normalize, if you want, they have no cost in producing quantity. There are other producers, the opportunistic type, the L type, which are the ones, they can produce quality, but quality can be costly for them. Okay? And the quality level produced by the high quality commitment type is indicated by delta. Delta is also a measure, if you want, of the heterogeneity between the difference between the two different types. Okay? And this is probably a bit different from the standard agricultural economics literature on heterogeneity, but it's more in line with the literature on reputation. Usually you have a commitment type and an opportunistic type. So when you have the chance to use the brands of the label, these are the effects we assume. So if you use the individual brand, you can inform the aware consumers. Okay? The aware consumers, they are in a fraction alpha, and so if you reach the aware consumer with individual brand, usually you are able to signal your perfect quality, the true quality of the individual farm. Okay? However, if you don't use the individual brand and you go and try to reach the unaware consumers, you can just signal an average quality. So the individual brand can reach out to the aware consumer. The collective label can reach out the unaware consumer, but is going to signal only the average quality of the group. This is the main assumption we make about information structure. Okay? So with the collective label, in fact, you reach out the unaware part of the market, and you signal only the average quality of the group. Okay? So this is the main thing. So another effect of the collective label is that you have to apply to enforce, to decide on the cahier des charges, a quality standard within the group. So that is something you have to enforce and to use. So what you observe in the market, there are three possible patterns. So you can have either a group in a region using only a uniform collective label, or you can find a situation in which you have firms using the collective label and other firms using both the collective label and the individual brand, which are the nested names. Or the third case in which the subgroups, they split. So you have the high quality guy using only individual brand without using the AOC, and only the bad guys, quote unquote, using the collective name. So these are the three possibilities you observe in the market. So what the way we model this decision within the group. So once you have an AOC group, they have to decide how much quality to enforce. What is the quality standard? So in the first group, in the first stage of in the game we have in mind, the group has to decide on the labeling, the kind of labeling we want to be in. So either uniform, collective, or nested, or they can just split. Once they have decided on the labeling policy, they have to decide the quality standard, and then once they have decided the quality standard, they go to compete. We assume here that each producer is a monopolist with a particular consumer, so he can charge a price up to the maximum limits to pay for quality. I don't want to go over this. So we have, in the first stage, we have different labeling regimes. We calculate the quality standard, the optimal quality standard that merge in different labeling regimes. We assume that the majority in the group is composed by low quality producers. You can have the other case, but usually it's, the most standard situation is that the majority of producers in an area is not particularly lucky in terms of quality potential, so the majority is of low quality producers. So what they do, they maximize their own welfare, but they have to take into account the outside option for the high quality type in the minority. Okay, so this is kind of constrained optimization problem. And so this is the case of uniform collective label. So there are spillovers in both markets. I'm going to show you more about that. And if you have a nested name, the spillovers from the good guy to the bad guy is only in the unaware portion of the market. Okay? Because the good guy using the individual brand together with the collective label is able to reach out to the aware consumer, okay, and signal the exact true quality. And if they split, there are no spillovers. So there is no free riding by the bad guy on the good guy. So the first result we get that the welfare level, the profit level for the low quality in the majority is higher with uniform collective label. So they have a unique group in which everybody uses the collective label. Okay, that is the situation in which there is a highest level of free riding, or if you want, positive spillovers coming from the high quality to the low quality. And so this is the situation in which the low quality guy in the majority is getting the higher profits. Okay, since this is the guy usually deciding the type of labeling, this is explaining why usually you have the emergency. If they can decide, this is what they're going to look at, they're going to choose. So they're going to choose the uniform collective label. Okay? But if you rank also in terms of the quality level, the quality level in terms of minimum quality standard, this is the lowest quality you get. So with uniform collective label, the level of quality in the group is the lowest of the three possible labeling scenarios. So what is the intuition? So why do we have an equilibrium? The low quality type in the majority is going to choose the uniform collective label, because, like I said, the amount of spillovers, the amount of free riding is the highest. So their profits is the highest. So this, if you want, is the amount of profits for the low quality in the majority, and this is this area here in color. This is the case in which you have a nested name, so this is a smaller area, and this is the case in which there is no spillovers, and so there is an even lower area. So in terms of profit for the low quality in the majority, it is the highest with the uniform collective label. There is also a situation in which the participation constraint for the minority is binding. So if you want to keep the high quality in the group, you need to take into account this participation constraint, this outside option. So what you have to do is to increase the quality inside the group. This is a way to keep the good guy into the group. So you enforce in the group higher quality standards. And so the choice of different labeling regimes depends also, of course, on the parameter values. So here we consider the amount of consumers that are aware and amount of heterogeneity into the group, the difference between the high quality and the low quality. And so when the heterogeneity is pretty low, you see that the group chooses the uniform collective. If the heterogeneity goes up, then you move into the constraint uniform collective label, or then if the heterogeneity increases further, you move on to the nested names. So nested names are a natural choice of this group if the heterogeneity across producers is getting higher. Okay? I don't have much time to go into the intuition. Another result is that given that welfare in this simple model is just proportional to quality, quality is not monotonically is not increasing. Actually, is not monotonically increasing. So you have that constraint uniform collective. You have higher quality because you want to keep the good guy inside. So you try to raise the quality standard, and that is going to increase the welfare. If that is going to be too costly for the majority, so what you do, you allow the good guy, to use nested name, and so the quality goes down, at least compared to the constraint uniform collective, and then also welfare goes down. And so last result, if you don't have a chance to price discriminate between different producers, you get a different result. I mean, the difference is that you might have situations in which to separate is the best choice for the majority. I think it stops here.